Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to be doing a review of these Rival Boxing RB2 second generation super bag gloves. So stay tuned. Alright guys, so today we have these Rival RB2 second generation super bag gloves. You do a close-up weigh-in and review on. I got mine in red, size large, which is supposed to be 16 ounces based on their sizing chart. And the reason I got these is I actually have done a review on the first generations. I got them in black a couple years ago, and Rival is starting to do a lot of second generations of their original gloves. So I wanted to see if there's any key differences or improvements with these new generation RB2s compared to the first one. So looking at it, it looks really similar to the original. There's some key differences. The main one going to be that on the second generation, you see here, they use synthetic leather, what they call microfiber. It's like a microfiber polyurethane. So the originals use genuine leather. These ones use microfiber, which they use in a lot of their newer gloves, like their RS100s, RS1s. Design-wise, it looks really similar. It still has the same kind of Rival logo on the back of the glove with this larger logo on that section. You do have the Rival that's actually embossed into the microfiber strap. It says RB2 Super Bag Glove 2.0 right there, written vertically. Got mine in large. Another key, I guess if you want to call it difference, is going to be, I feel that this finger compartment on the second generation is a little bit more narrow and smaller, and the glove has a little bit more of a rounded shape, more of a rounded shape compared to the original that had a little bit more of a tapered flat look to it. And I think that has more to do with actual padding on the inside. Some similarities is they still has that tapered mesh palm like the originals. Still uses the ergo strap system to where it starts off larger on the outside of the wrist and then kind of tapers down. Another difference is it uses a full length attached thumb, where the original just uses a attached strap rather than the entire piece right there. So those are the key differences. The gloves are made in China. There's an actual tag on the inside that you can see right there. It says where it's made in China, and it uses a kind of a tri-cot foamy liner on the inside. That's really nice because it doesn't bunch up and it's really comfortable. Where the original actually used a kind of like a satin nylon liner, so the liner is different as well. So they made some key differences to this one. Whether or not I consider them improvements, I'll get to here in the review, but you can see the double stitching there, the mesh palm, attached thumb. The logo on the finger compartment is the same as the original. The original was a little bit larger logo-wise. But there you have it. Those are the gloves next to each other. It uses a much more firm padding. It's a multi-layer foam. Obviously, this is going to be intended for bag work, so the premise behind these gloves is to give you really good protection on your knuckles and your hands when you're using these. So these should be around 16 ounces, I'm hoping. Let's go ahead and throw the right glove on first to see what they weigh in at. So these are right at 14.7, and the left glove is right at 14.3. So weight-wise, they're close to each other, but they're definitely not 16 ounces. So let's go ahead and do the review. Hey, what's up guys? Carlo here, and today I'm doing a review of these Rival Boxing RB2 Super Bag Gloves. These are their second generation of the RB2s, and I got mine in red. You can also get it in black or white. Size-wise, I got it in large. So for a lot of their bag gloves, if not all of Rival's bag gloves, they actually use the letter size system rather than ounces. So large is supposed to be about 16 ounces. Medium is supposed to be 14, and XL is supposed to be 18 ounces. If you're looking at it from a numerical standpoint. So you have 3 color choices to choose from, 3 different sizes. It utilizes this tapered ergo strap system, which is the same as the original. They do not offer this in lace up. Now, I did the review on the original RB2 a couple years ago. I got it in black. The big key difference between that and this one is going to be the original used genuine leather. This new version uses microfiber PU, which is basically a fancy word for synthetic leather. So it's a microfiber polyurethane. And you're starting to see a lot of, the vast majority of Rival boxing gloves go to this microfiber material. I know the RS1s have them, RB80s. I mean, there's a whole list of them you can check out on their website, but they're starting to use a lot of that microfiber. I just think they really like the consistency of it, the durability of this compared to leather. I definitely know that it's a lot easier to clean because it doesn't have that same grain, and maintenance is really just wiping it down. I mean, unlike leather, you don't really have to maintain it. Now, whether or not I prefer that, I still prefer genuine leather over microfiber or any kind of synthetic, but that's just me and a personal preference. Another big difference between this and the original is going to be the actual finger compartment. To me, is more narrow on this one. And the glove itself has more of a rounded shape to it, mainly because of the kind of foam padding. I also feel that the foam on this is a little bit more denser. They still use multi-layered foam, but on this one it feels a little bit more dense than the original, and because of that, the glove doesn't feel as pliable or flexible right off the bat. So I think just a combination of the microfiber polyurethane and the kind of padding they use makes the glove feel a little bit more stiffer. Notable difference too is going to be the full length attached thumb. Similarities would be the tapered mesh palm, which is the same as the original as well. Obviously, I just talked about the ergo strap. So those are all pretty much the same from the original. Aesthetically, looking at the gloves, they look the same kind of logo with the rival script on the back of the glove and that gigantic rival that's kind of printed right here. The original, I believe, actually, I don't know if it was an R, one of the letters was like orange as well. So just a little bit of a different modification, and also the strap on the original, I don't remember it having the embossed logo on here. So it said rival, it just didn't have that same embossed feel. Strap is made out of a microfiber as well. This is RB2 super bag glove with the size on there, 2.0. And you have a full wraparound Velcro closure that's made out of microfiber. Another big thing they use is the different type of male end of the Velcro. So it's a higher quality Velcro that they use on this compared to the original. One nice thing about it is it doesn't have that same kind of, I wouldn't say scratchiness, but like standard Velcro has more of like the fibers that stick up out of the Velcro, where this one just feels flat. And so that's really nice that they have that. You can see it has that full length Velcro strap right there. And then the inside of the glove has about, on the wrist side, I'd say about maybe almost a quarter of an inch of padding on the inside wrist that goes up to right about here where the stitching is at. And the same thing with this side, it goes right about here and it ends, so you don't have any padding up to right where this red piping is out on the glove. You can see it has double stitching on the piping right there, and you have a kind of a small grip bar. I wish that grip bar was a little bit bigger and a little bit more dense. This one's pretty soft. So you have the grip bar there. The back of the wrist, you have about a ½ inch of medium density foam padding. The gloves are made in China, which is indicated there on the tag. And the inside liner is this foamy kind of tricot liner that's really smooth and doesn't bunch up. So you can see that there. But those are kind of the key differences. The difference is going to be the microfiber, the shape of the foam and the density of the foam, and the attached thumb being a full length attached thumb. So to me, those are the key differences. Oh, and the liner. The original liner in the RB2, the first generation, was more of that satin polyester liner, where this one is a little bit more of that foam style. So that's the key differences between that. So quality of the gloves are actually really nice. I mean, considering that these are made in China, a lot of people were like, oh, those were made in China, they're probably junk. Not necessarily. I mean, these gloves actually have pretty nice stitching. So even though they're maybe made in China, you can definitely tell that there's a level of quality control that I'm sure Rival goes through. You know, you have a certain reputation you carry with yourself as a company. So I'm sure when they receive these gloves, they do a once over of them before they even ship them out to their customers, just to make sure everything looks to be on point. But in this particular model, stitching looks pretty good. I mean, you have some over stitching right there, and that's just more or less to kind of go back and end the stitch. But you can see the actual ergo strap looks really good. Stitching on the palm side looks good. You get a little bit of fraying there on the piping, but that's not a huge deal. Not a lot of people are a huge fan of mesh palms, but obviously the whole premise behind that is to give you a little bit of breathability, moisture wicking. You just got to be careful to make sure you don't get any Velcro attached to that, because once Velcro hits that and you pull it off, that's where it creates a lot of the fraying, and eventually you'll get like holes, or that will wear down a lot quicker. You can see the actual grip bar looks really good. Nice ventilated holes on the palm. The microfiber material is bonded nicely to the multi-layer foam. You know, stitching on the index finger to the thumb looks good. Attached thumb looks really clean. This microfiber has held up well, and I've been using this for bag work, and I haven't had any issues with the material itself having any imperfections. The foam is held up really nicely, no bubbling or any kind of folding or any kind of issues with the foam on the inside. Stitching on the thumb where it meets the back of the glove looks really good. And again, the Velcro looks nice. Hinge point looks good. Black piping around the cuff looks really nice. Glove, I would say, is a little bit top heavy. It's a lot more foam, less loaded from this hinge point towards the rest of the glove. And I feel like there's a little bit of a lack of padding around the wrist. So it would have been nice maybe to bring a little bit more of the padding to the wrist area. That way it doesn't feel so top heavy with this particular glove. Not to say that there isn't any foam there is, but it just feels a little bit more on the top end side. And for a bag glove, some people might have some kind of wrist issue, so a little bit more support would be good there, considering that you're using this ergo strap to really lock in your wrist. But quality-wise, these are actually pretty good. Now, comfort-wise, you slide your hand in here. Go ahead and put this ergo strap on. Velcro strap feels really nice and comfortable. One thing I really like about the ergo strap is it starts up high and it kind of comes down and tucks underneath the thumb. And the whole premise behind that is so you get more wrist support towards up this bottom part of your hand. So it's not just underneath the hinge of your wrist. You're really trying to get up here. That way it really locks your wrist in and doesn't allow your wrist to really flex. So that's kind of the premise behind that ergo strap. So you can see it's a lot bigger. I'd say that's maybe about 5 inches, maybe 6 inches at the very peak. And it tapers down and comes back around. Thumb feels really nice and comfortable, nice parallel. The piping isn't too tight, not too much padding. Finger compartment is nice and deep. Glove does take some breaking in. So, initially this glove were pretty stiff at first. And that's just the combination of the microfiber material they use on the exterior, as well as the foam padding and being a lot more dense, to me, than the original RB2s. They use a nice piece of foam or neoprene to cover the stitching, which I really like, which is another big improvement over the original, because the original you can actually feel the stitching in there. Another big plus I would say is going to be the inside liner is more comfortable as well. The inside liner is smoother. You don't have any issues with bunching up. It feels really good. Now the drawback I found with these is this finger compartment is a little bit more narrow than the original. So you have to be mindful of that. If you do have, bigger hands or fatter fingers, that this area right here is a little bit more narrow than the original. So I feel like my fingers are a little closer together than I'd like to. And I definitely prefer that on the original version as well. So overall, gloves feel really nice, minus I'd say the finger compartment being a little bit on the tighter side and the gloves not as broken in as the originals. Now that leads to the protection and the performance of these gloves. They protect your hand really nicely. These are definitely more on the side of a protective glove. Just showing you guys how dense that padding is. I mean, it's really dense. So you don't really get a really popping sound with these gloves. It's more of a thud with this glove. And obviously nothing goes through that. That multi-layer foam padding on there is dense. So I can't really feel any shock of the punch go through and hit my knuckles. So if you're looking for maximum protection, these gloves are great for that. If you're looking for a little bit more feedback, a little bit more of a compressing feeling, then these are really close to more of like a molded foam glove where it's just really stiff off the bat, really dense foam padding. So if you're looking for that, you'll definitely get it with these. Again, compared to the originals, I feel like the originals were a little bit more softer and you had a little bit more of a feeling of connecting with the original RB2s compared to these. And they're a little bit more broken in. I don't know if that has something to do with them using genuine leather and the foam being a little bit softer on the originals compared to these. But I like the feeling of them being a little bit softer feeling right off the bat and just getting a better feeling of connecting. So with these, obviously there's some key differences. Whether or not you like them, that's really up to you. That's a personal preference thing. Some people might not mind a little bit more narrow finger compartment and might need a little bit denser foam so that doesn't bother them. And keep in mind there's going to be a break-in period, so these will loosen up even more over time the more you use them. Cost-wise, these gloves are $79. You can get them through Rival or even Tidal Boxing. There's a couple of different vendors that sell these, which are right at the same price as the originals that are still being sold. Another thing I also noticed is that these are super similar to the RB80s. Now the RB80s I think are about $10 more, but I feel these are identical to those in the type of foam they use and the way the gloves feel. The key differences between this and the RB80, the RB80 actually uses like a an embossed logo that's actually like printed into the microfiber, so you can actually feel the texture of the RB80. That's a little different, but they use multi-layer foam padding in the RB80s. They use the ergo strap, and they use a synthetic kind of mesh palm on those as well. So I think the RB80s are I would say, and I would venture to guess, are the same gloves as these. The only thing they changed on it was the outside casing and the way they look, the actual aesthetic of the glove. So if you want to save yourself $10 and you wanted to get the RS80, the bag glove versions, and wanted to save $10, or you just like the colors that the RB2 offers more than the RB80s, I think get the RB2s, because I think they're the same glove, to be honest with you, other than the way they look. Because it uses the same strapping system, the foam feels the same on the inside, the hand compartment feels the same. Well, the only difference is the way they look. So for $79, not a bad buy. You know, all things considered, the quality, the way they look, I think they have good sizing with the medium, large, and XL. So you have different colors to choose from, different sizes. I still like the original a little bit more than the second generation. That's just my personal preference, but I can see why they made some of the improvements that they did, especially with the liner, with the microfiber, as well as these attached thumbs. So any questions or comments, as usual, leave them down below in the comments box. I'll put the link in the description box where you can find these Rival RB2 second generation gloves. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.